This is my first vlog and I'm going to show you how I change a flat tire. Now there's three things that you need to change a flat. You need tire levers, baby powder, and a spare tube. Now when I go for bike rides, I like to have a spare tube already a little bit inflated and I already coat it with baby powder. So if I get a flat, knock on wood, I hope I don't get a flat, but if I get a flat, then I have the tube ready to go. You may be wondering, why do you need baby powder at all? Baby powder, it adds like a little lubricant, I think, around the tire. And I guess it's like, it doesn't stick as much. So if you've ever, if you just put your tube in, it's like really sticky. Instead of having baby powder, it like slips along. And I mean, this is how I was taught, so I don't question too much. This is just what you should do, so do it. Okay, so how to prep your tube. Coat it with baby powder. Very easy. This is what we do. Tube with a little bit of air in it already, because I do not know how to do that. It just doesn't work for me, so I do it at home already. Baby powder. You just put it on. Really generous. All the way around the tube. And if you're doing this at home, if you're lucky enough to get a flat, say on your trainer, I take the tire itself and I put baby powder all along the inside of the tire as well. The tire. So you have it on the tire and the tube, so it's nice and slippery. Now, 9 times out of 10, it is not going to be the front wheel that gets the flat. It's going to be the rear wheel, but just humor me, I'm going to do it with the front wheel. So you want to make sure that all the air's out. I just press the valves and, unscrew the valve stem and depress it a little bit just to make sure all the air's out. And then you get the tire levers to help you get it off. Now what you do is you start at the opposite end of the wheel from the valve stem. Again, I don't really know why, but this is just what you do. Now, these tire levers used to cause me no end of grief. I would usually start with one, and then, you're trying to muscle your way around it, and you just end up getting bloody fingernails and like cursing and just getting really agitated. So I did find a trick though. Now this is really cool, so watch very closely. You get your tire levers. You put one in underneath the bead. And you don't pull it down yet. This was my mistake. I always would like pull it down and then be wrestling. Okay, then you go like a little bit, just like a little bit further. So like there's like a spoke in the middle. I just did one on either side. Okay, now this is cool. Now you do it at the same time. See? And it pops over the rim, so it's not a big deal. Now, if it's a real pain in the butt, you might want to do like a third one or get it in there. Usually it's pretty good. You can just start taking it off like this. Goes all the way around the rim. Okay, now you can take the tube right out, starting again opposite the valve stem. This little sucker comes out. Now, if you're at home, or if you're close to home and you have the luxury, I like to take the tire right off and see if there's anything underneath there. They say to use your hands and feel if there's like a staple that's gone through. So, if you put a new tube in, then whatever's stuck in there would just make you have a puncture again. So if you check it, then, you can find it. But something to keep in mind is if you have bike gloves or like a sock or a piece of cloth or something, because if you're like rubbing your hands along it, you can slice yourself open pretty good. That hasn't happened to me yet, thank goodness. Again, knock on wood. Okay, so everything's good and you're ready to put in your new tube. I save my old tube, put it in my jersey pocket and bring it home for afterwards, and I can suss out maybe what the problem was. I'll inflate it, like I'll pump it up full of air and then put it in a bathtub of water, and I'll hold it underneath the water, see if like there's air coming out. I can, ascertain where the puncture was for further investigation. Usually you know, you don't have to do that. You know, this is why I like to have it with like a little bit of air in it instead of just being totally flat. You know, when you get them in the tubes in those cardboard boxes and they're just flat and they're all sticky. So I like to have them already taken out with a little bit of air. It just makes it easier to get into the tire instead of it being flat, and it's just a lot more awkward to me anyway. So it has a little bit of air. You just push it in, feed it along the tire, and then it's all in there. So the next step, this can be like a pain in the butt too, is putting the tire back in the rim. So you start at the valve stem, and let's see if I can show you here. You just start with both hands, just like pushing it in, pushing it in. I like to have it like this, facing away from you. So you get near the end, and it starts to get tight. And this is when you also start to get bloody knuckles and start swearing and stuff. So you see it's like hanging over. So you can use these tire levers again. People will say, oh, you don't do that, you're gonna get a flat. Whatever, I use it and it's fine. So instead of using it facing this way, like how you did to when you put it under the bead and then flipped it off, I do it opposite. And I do it just like a little bit, I don't know, however long that is, just away from the where it starts to separate. I'll just push it up. You see that? It goes like that, go like that, and it's in there. I'll go like that, again. Now sometimes you start doing this and it starts popping out of the other side, and it's like you're a wild goose chase as you're going around and around and around. You just gotta figure it out. Eventually you'll get it. Eventually you'll work the tire enough times so it doesn't do that. It'll be loosened up and it'll work. So there you go. Now all you have to do is pump up your tire and you're ready to go. So hopefully this helped you out. And this was my first vlog. Bye everyone!